Hello. I hope that you have all been able to dig into our first week of discussions and read through the content and the textbook selections so far. I've been pleased with the high level of discussions that have been taking place. Patrick and Charles started the discussions out strong, with Patrick noting the immediate adverse impact at the end of the military occupation brought to the South, and especially to the newly freed people. Charles noted that without the pragmatic leadership of Lincoln, the prospects of Reconstruction were tenuous, even despite the outcome of the Hayes-Tilden election, which was the topic of our very first discussion. Hannah and Stephen shared a discussion on the compromise of pulling out federal troops and the rise of Jim Crow. And it's vital to remember that after 1877, segregation and disenfranchisement ruled in the South. The only hope for African Americans in terms of obtaining rights were the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, which effectively is all they got after the Civil War. The 13th Amendment, which ended slavery, the 14th Amendment, which provided for citizenship and equal protection under the law, and the 15th Amendment, which gave them the right to vote. With the rise of segregation and disenfranchisement, African Americans lost their political rights via various methods of voter intimidation at the polls, which Daniel did a nice job describing in his post, so hop over there and read that. Remember, the high number of blacks living in the South would have made them a powerful voting bloc. Zach and Tiffany's post did a good job noting this, as did Hannah and Jennifer's exchange as well. So some nice work in the discussions. I encourage you to continue with the second question, which is vibrant as well, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the week. As you know, we pick up our course after the Civil War during Reconstruction, at a time when we literally are able to consider the country broken, fractured in multiple places. In the South, most importantly, the entire geographic region lay in ruin because of Grant's total war program. And the war, which took place mostly in the South, lay waste to a large portion of the southeastern cotton landscape and the infrastructure. We cannot underestimate the impact of the crops burned, bridges destroyed, rivers and creeks purposely clogged, deforestation, and forced homelessness on so much of the Southern population that ensued after the war. Much of the South's property was worthless, and of course the famous and mournful Great Wandering of the now freed slaves as they searched for loved ones throughout the ravaged territory that took place after the Civil War. The political system was broken as well. The South had seceded, and now it was left for the winners in the North to determine how to readmit the losing states back into the government. And there was great disagreement on how to do this, which is the essence of the term Reconstruction. The death of Lincoln was pivotal, and that ensured that there would be no middle road taken in the handling of the most delicate situation. In fact, Lincoln's entire handling of the war was done with great attention to understanding all sides of the issue of the day, and most importantly, not to Lincoln's own personal concerns. And I was most impressed with Charles' post, which he put in a primary source Lincoln's very last address given on the day of his death, which is well worth reading. It's a very important piece of Lincoln's writing that's not really that popular As one historian notes, during Lincoln's administration, he put together a team of rivals to help him run the country and run the war effort. Lincoln believed that it's better to have your enemies inside the tent pissing out rather than outside the tent pissing in. It's a very important quote, and it's a very important way of running the government, and it's a very important theme of American heritage. In fact, weighing the major Reconstruction plans demonstrates that Lincoln was the most moderate. The 10% plan, the presidential Reconstruction plan, and congressional Reconstruction, all very important key terms that you need to become reacquainted with. Investing in the South, you want to become familiar with the major investors in the South. How did the North invest in the South? Who were the major investors in reconstructing the South, which took place after the important Hayes-Tilden election? Just a little bit of housekeeping as I end this little lecture video. I want those of you who have not to hand in your plagiarism tutorial. Click on assignments up at the top and tune into our first assignment coming up. You are required to take a library tutorial. I think it's about a half hour or so, and you're going to want to take the quiz at the end and additionally hand that in to me for your first assignment grade. Please continue on with our conferences. I'm enjoying reading. I read them all. Sometimes I comment, but I do read them all. Please feel free to contact me with any questions that you might have. And until next time, have a great time in our history class together.